Okay, everybody, we are back, and we're going to move on to agenda item 12C, which is the introduction. Okay, we're moving on to item 12C, which is the introduction of Lisa O'Brien, who is the new executive director of the Taos Housing Partnership.
Good afternoon. I am so excited to be here in this role for myself and just to be in this position for our community. What I heard today, I'm just taking notes, is heavy lift, best practices, and Commissioner Vigil, I think you said it just beautifully, that housing is so complex. I am here as the executive director of Taos Housing Partnership. And just to give a very brief overview of kind of how we got to this moment right now, when we were all dealing with COVID, and many of us in leadership, and I was with the Taos Community Foundation at that time, and the Enchanted Circle COAD started. From discussions in that group, which many of us remember, those sometimes were Zoom calls with 30 people on them on a weekly basis. There was a Taos Housing Strike Force group that came together. And the conversations that came out of that were dealing with concerns with residents being kicked out of their rental properties when they didn't have income. And all of that was kind of this percolating conversation happening around housing. And from that, we went, Taos Community Foundation and the Lohr Foundation contracted with a woman, Jen Lopez, who's with Project Moxie, and Jen's done many presentations in community in the last 18 months. We did a landscape survey, and from that, realized that what our community really needed to drive affordable housing projects, conversations, ideas was that it needed to be in a separate standalone 501c3. And that conversation started probably in early 2022. There has been an extremely active, passionate group of people, of which Commissioner Brush, Commissioner Vigil, Brent has been involved in, the town. I think there's 16 people that are involved in what has now culminated in the hiring of an executive director for this position. I want to say very clearly, I'm 3 weeks in. I'm 2 full weeks and 2 full days. And I chuckled because I had an interim board meeting on, I think, my 3rd day. And I was going, oh my dear, oh my goodness. They're looking for the shovel-ready project tomorrow. What I want to say is Taos Housing Partnership, we are in the midst of getting the 501c3 structure in place. So we are in this, as usual, this like wonderful moment of everyone wants to go, what are we building? What's the project? What are you doing, Lisa? Can you get this? We need 100 units. And I'm going, oh my goodness, like let's slow down a little bit. I think what I saw today, which is a great example of what this work is going to be for us. I'm a gardener and I'm going to share with you long-term. We've got some short-term goals that I'm working really hard on for this summer. We are talking about a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, and a 10-year plan. So the mission statement of Taos Housing Partnership is to create equitable housing opportunities. It's huge, and we all know that. And just watching today's meeting, looking and observing some of the discussion and sometimes the tension that comes up around development planning, saw that happen today. I heard from Maria issues around from the assessor's report. We certainly heard from Andy, and I like that he commented in his report on the short-term ordinance, housing is in that as well. So I am tasked with sort of trying to figure out what we're all going to do in this wonderful community to address and bring forward equitable housing opportunities. I want to say Thank you to the commission. I know, and to Brent, this has been a really cool project to get to the place that we are in partnership and the sharing of an MOU between the town and the county. I want to be very, very clear because I found out on day 2 that there's already misinterpretations of what my role is. I am housed, my office right now is with the town of Taos. They are paying, they're the ones writing my check. But it is a shared financial commitment from the town and from the county to pay my salary for the next couple of years. I am in the process of getting the nonprofit up and running because what we realize is this has to be a standalone entity so that it's clean for everybody. So the housing partnership will be a nonprofit. And then we will have these wonderful contracts or agreements with the town, and I'll have contracts and wonderful agreements with the county. I just want to be really, really clear that everybody understands that even though I'm housed physically at Taos, at the town, that I'm not working for the town and I'm not walking around checking off the town's affordable housing plan. So it's really important for me that that's very clearly understood. I have spoken with Manager Jaramillo and with a couple of our commissioners. If it is helpful, even if it's just for optics, because that's important for all of us, I would love to be here 2 days a week. So if we want to talk about that, I'm very flexible. I have a laptop. I can bring my cart. We can figure something out. I just, at this point, there are so many details to sort of move forward. And what I'm finding is we can't do this until I have these 3 other things done. So short term out of the game, really looking at this summer as being putting a strong calendar together. One of the things that definitely has to happen is all of us need to learn. I'm not the only one who needs to learn what deed restrictions are about. What we're going to do is dive into a lot of data, and I was so glad to hear that. I'm kind of tapping into some of this, and it just raises huge questions. So what we are going to see as a community is lots of dovetailing, and what we're going to find out is we can't just talk about housing if we're not talking about what workforce development is and what economic development is and all of those things, and it's all going to be part of the big conversation. So I am here to just say I am thrilled to be here in this new role. And I'm extremely looking forward to just kind of a lot of brainstorming and a lot of learning. We're going to make sure that in addition to building out best practices on the nonprofit side, that we're also creating those opportunities to come back to government officials and to really start having some hard conversations or interesting conversations. I won't assume they're hard. To really sink our teeth into what this looks like. But if I have to say anything, it's please don't call me tomorrow and ask me what shovel project ready we're doing next Monday, because it won't be next Monday. Just kind of really trying to kind of keep that in perspective. The long-term goals for the project are to create 100 new below market or affordable housing units in the community, not necessarily the town, not necessarily the county, 100 in our area in 3 years. So we got some time, and I will take my heels off and I will put my running shoes on, and I'm not afraid of shovels. But right now what we're doing is really building up a solid nonprofit organization that will be here 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, way past my, then I will retire. How about that? So I will stand for questions if you have any, but I mostly just wanted to say thank you, and I'm so thrilled that we're entering into this as a joint effort.
Lisa, thank you so much for being here and for taking on this big project. We're grateful. We look forward to your collaboration with us, like from everyone from our assessors department to our planning department to all of us, to facilities or construction, Richard back there, and with the town and everyone else you're going to be collaborating with. It just seems super exciting and important that we now have like responsibility or like the point person for the conversation, the point place for the conversation around housing actually assigned. Because if folks in government or other nonprofits do it now and then when they can, when it arises, that's how we don't make progress. So this is exciting to have a point place person. I don't want to put it all on you, but thank you so much for being here. Commissioner
I
Vihil.
would just like to echo, thank you very much, Lisa, for your willingness to take on such a great, important project. I'm so glad that you explained how it all got started, because I remember the days when those conversations began, and we knew we were going to dive into something really complex, but clearly there's movement, and I love also the idea that you're setting this up in a way that it's going to be structured so it stands strong. And that's really the idea, that we get it away from, at some point, government in general, that it's not, because as we've stated in the board meetings, that we come and go, right? We commissioners and council members and mayor, we come and go. So we want to make sure that this program is going to stand strong and weather whatever comes. So thank you for doing that for us.
Thank you. And it's exciting that we could have you here for 2 days a week. So
That's great.
we will work.
I'm
we will
ready.
Work on that. Okay.
I do want to, if I can just, I do want to acknowledge the Taos News. We had an interim board meeting on Thursday, and Commissioner Vihil, the first thing she said, and that we're all on Zoom again, and she said, "Lisa, did you see the Taos News?" And I'm going, "Oh dear, no, what?" It was a cartoon last week. Was I loved it. So I actually want everyone to know, I think all of us who serve in leadership in this group, I'm going to get copies for all of you. We're going to have it on our front doors. Because what it demonstrated and really depicted is this is going to be a long, steep walk. And sometimes we will run and sometimes we will go very slow. But I'm going to start naming all of the kind of the barriers that got put on that cartoon, because we are going to be able to name them along the way. So I just want to say I absolutely loved it, and you're all getting it as a poster for your offices. So
and I do want
you.
to say that I know, since the Taos News is here as well, say that I know I was hesitant in saying your name, but not because I didn't want to say your name. It was more for, I just wanted you to understand,
Yeah,
Lisa.
I
was
appreciate
I didn't
that.
want to
Thank you.
blow the
Yeah.
excitement, and wasn't sure if we were good to go, but
We're good to go.
we're good to go.
Thank
and
you.
your optimism will get us over those barriers. I remember when we were running for office back in 2020, and you would talk about housing that was accessible, affordable. We literally heard, "Oh, we tried that." And guess what? We're trying it again in a different way. And your optimism and determination, along with all of us standing right there with you going up that mountain, make a difference.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, folks. Oh, now this takes us to item 14 on our agenda, resolutions and ordinances. Item 14A is discussion, consideration, and decision regarding the approval of resolution number 2023-16, a resolution acknowledging the FY22 audit findings and accepting management's responses for correcting the findings. Manager Jaramillo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We got a letter from Department of Finance and Administration. They asked us to pass a resolution acknowledging the findings and our agency response. That's what I just passed out. You've already seen this in your audit manual that Mr. Cordova presented at the beginning of April. So this is a copy from that, and Mr. Madrid did highlight our agency responses. So this will be part of our budget process that we needed to acknowledge our audit findings. I stand for questions. Mr. Madrid, Ms. Vihil are also here in case you have any questions for them.
Thank you, Brent. And this is a helpful reminder at our fingertips right now what we're actually moving forward with today. So thank you for getting this into our hands this afternoon. Appreciate it. So commissioners, again, this is a request by DFA. Any questions for Brent on what we're doing here, which is approving a resolution to acknowledge the audit findings and accepting county management's plan to address them.
No, thank you. I just want to say thank you. I know it's always additional work, but very important.
Exactly, thank you.
Checks and balances. Thank you.
Any questions, comments? Yes? Okay, then I would entertain a motion regarding approval of resolution number 2023-16, acknowledging the FY22 audit findings and accepting management's responses for correcting them.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve by Commissioner Vihil, and I will go ahead and second that. Madam Clerk, please call for the vote.
Commissioner Vihil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mascarenhas,
Yes.
Vice Chair Romero,
Yes.
Chair Brush.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, and this takes us to item 15A, contracts, agreements, MOUs, and bids. We have discussion, consideration, and decision regarding the approval of Pictometry International Corporation in Taos County, New Mexico, GSA Federal Supply Schedule Contract GS-35F-0801N, an amendment to continue an additional 6-year contract to include a total of 3 flyover projects. And we have Madam Assessor Maria Dimas here with us again. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It's been a long meeting, huh? And so before you have a contract that was put together by Pictometry Eagleview, and it's a 6-year period project. It'll be 3 more flyovers. This project would be paid for from my 1% fund and other contractuals. And so it comes in at you're going to love the price at $716,464.08. That is paid annually and not the full amount. It's broken down by like, I believe 160,000 per year. And so earlier when Anthony and I were discussing this project, I did ask him, how many sectors are we still needing to get a complete flyover? And I think we determined that we needed another 150 sectors, which would bring that up to 690 sectors for Taos County to cover the entire county. And that was one of the reasons why I went ahead and I did a presentation and want to get data share agreements with the other entities here, the other municipalities, as I want to keep my 1% fund healthy and eventually get the entire county flown over. Hopefully we can go to a 1-inch resolution. I don't know that that will happen, but that is my one of the goals that I have as your assessor currently, is to be able to have that in place for the new administration, whoever comes in. They have somewhere to build off and hopefully allow Taos County to grow the way it needs to be growing. So I'm hopeful that you will approve this and allow Taos County to use this Eagleview Pictometry to move forward. So
Thank you, Ms. Dimas, and thank you for, in your earlier presentation, giving us more detail about the usefulness of the Pictometry project. Appreciate it. Commissioners, what are your wishes regarding the approval of Pictometry International Corporation in Taos County, New Mexico, GSA Federal Supply Schedule Contract GS-35F-0801N?
I have one question.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Okay. I want to say I know the answer to this, but the attorney has reviewed the contract, right?
you should have reviewed it, yes. Oh,
Please tell me.
answer.
Madam Chair, I was just looking at that. It says the legal department has approved this. I don't see a signature line for the legal department anywhere on the document that I could find. I haven't personally reviewed this document. Who approved
I
this?
believe that Randy Acho, I'm not real sure, but you might want to reach out to Shannon, who's our legal assistant. I was under the impression that she had already reviewed and it was just being held. Also, I've been working closely with Lee Stripe. She is one of your partners, and so you may be able to reach out to her because I've worked with her a little bit closer than the other.
If it's
So
been signed, then that's fine.
I don't know
I
if you
can
want
do
to take a look at that.
Commission.
Ms.
Chair.
Vihel.
I just want to reiterate that this contract, the reason why they're asking for an amendment is because we currently have the software and we have everything in place. From the current contract we have now with Pictometry, which is a multi-year contract. And based on procurement, I also gave a written determination that it's in the best interest of Taos County to continue on with Pictometry versus, or Equal View. I know they're changing their name. Everybody keeps changing their name now. In order to pursue and continue this program that they do have in there for the appraisers and for the assessors' ability when they can't go out on site. I know there's probably a little bit of an increase, obviously, in cost from what the current contract is, but that's obviously for the more that they need to get done. So I did make sure that this got over to legal. I'm not sure who reviewed it, if it was Randy Audio or who. Or Corey, but they did confirm that it was good to go. I did review it as well with procurement and worked closely with the assessors in getting this done. Since this was a contract that I worked on since the beginning, it is a very tasking contract due to its federal. So making sure I had the right contracts and things in place. So I just wanted to make sure you guys are aware that procurement cleared it as well before it went to legal.
Thank you,
Thank
Chair.
you.
That's great. Thank you for that clarification. With that being said, unless someone has other questions, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call for the vote.
Commissioner Vehil,
Yes?
Commissioner Mascarenhas,
Yes.
Vice Chair Romero,
Yes.
Chair Brush.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you,
guys.
Elsa.
Thank you. Have a nice afternoon.
Thank you, you too. Okay, this moves us to item 16 on the agenda, Department Matters. Item 16A is discussion, consideration, and decision regarding approval of purchase of OpenGov-Carasoft Finance/Procurement Cloud Software using state price agreement procurement. Elsa Vihil, Interim Finance Director.
First, it starts, what Carasoft does address is first.
Oh, in
audit
the,
finding, so I just wanted to point that out.
Okay.
Sure, Elsa,
Yeah,
point it out.
I would point it out. Chair Commission, before I use a quotation, I would have given a presentation, but it's confidential and proprietary to the company. So what I'm going to do is just a brief overview of what this program is. It's called OpenGov, and it's providing a budgeting and planning and reporting and transparency platform for Taos County. This is a full-feature cloud budgeting software. And the question is always like, why OpenGov? It's a modern software purpose-built for local government and allows customers to reallocate up to 1% of their budgets for more strategic outcomes and saves thousands of hours of manual and paper-based processes. They are very familiar with Triadic, so it does interface with Triadic, so they're able to pull the data out and put it into their database. The budget and planning platform provides for collaborative budgeting, capital planning, online budget, book publication, workforce calculation, budgetary reporting, financial projections, operating budgets, and what-if scenario analysis and strategic initiative tagging. So the cloud-based program allows for collaboration across departments. It sends and receives budget proposals, so it's a more interface transparency that we will have. It tracks performance and strategic objectives. You can comment on key reports and sharing outcomes with colleagues, which means it also will give access to even our commission, where they look like little square bubbles. And I saw the demo where it'll give you actual day-to-day on your budget. So if you want to see what the sheriff's department, for instance, what's going on, boom, and you can see it in a chart, you can see it in different outcomes. It also improves decision-making by providing the context we need for budget decisions and information needed to manage performance. You can visualize trends and model the impact of the proposed budget changes while you transform complex financial performance data into actionable insights. So last but least, but the most important is saving time. We do have still a staffing shortage in our department in finance. With this, a simple and intuitive user interface, you can see your budget, you can receive commentary from your team. So it's a good communication tool, especially when meetings in person is just not happening. And get your plans approved. You'll be able to see the budget by importing last year's actuals and then adjust, add, or compare proposal line items in real time. So also there is a procurement platform that was also presented to me, which it basically makes it 100% paper free. It'll make it all electronic. It'll make it simple for even a mom and pop here in Taos to apply and actually sign up for it. It will open up many, many doors. Right now, the way we're still doing it is kind of so-and-so because I have to drag them from our website into another website for them to respond. This will all be located within our website. It'll have it broken down in different categories with the packet, the overview. They have to answer all questions, and if they don't answer all the questions, it will not let them submit it. So this way we get good competitive packets, we get simple answers, and it's just a click of yes or no, and not a lot of documents need to be provided by the vendor. So it's going to open up quite a bit of doors. It helps with the supplier interaction. It makes procurement easier and transparent for everyone involved. It cuts time to write the bids and the RFPs. So basically, the main portions are put within that website, and all you have to do is put in the scope of work and how you want it broken out. And they work with you in doing that as well. It helps with writing and releasing those bids and RFPs by 75%. It'll open up that much time in my world. And it actually opens up the world for us to get 3 to 4 times more responses than what we usually receive out there. It also makes it, again, 100% paperless. It's on the cloud, and it'll allow an online workflow to address questions between purchasing and the requesting department, resulting in complete solicitation package for final review and approval. So this would also include contracts. It would allow us to go paperless in that route. Of course, I would be working together with legal when that time does come. But it also makes it very visible to the general public that we are being fair and that procurement is being met with the ethical and transparency that we need to do. So our IT director, Colin, and myself were on Zoom when we had different virtual demos. It's a very valuable tool. This company is based on employees who have retired or who have left the government sector. It's strictly for government only. And these are individuals who have worked in these positions, even locally at the county level in different states. When I was talking to them, they knew exactly what I was talking about and what I'm going through. I mean, they, from New Mexico to Washington, we're all dealing with the same situation. So these people are actually the ones that built these programs to help out from a village like the village of Cuesta all the way to like the city of Albuquerque. It's strictly for government and government only. So it was a real big eye opener to find out even the budget side of it could save me about 80% of time as the interim finance director. So whoever does come into that position will have basically a footstep ahead of the game, because this will open up a big world of transparency, and it would open up more communication, I think, not just with our elected officials, but with all our departments and the whole county and the community. So I stand for any other questions if you have any.
Thank you very much, Ms. Vihal. Commissioners, questions for Elsa? Commissioner Vihal?
Well, it sounds very, very exciting, but I'm just wondering if it will also show when, I guess, how much time it takes to put out, like to make a payment on some, a vendor, or is that a little bit different? It's not going to be that specific?
That'll be a different component. This component strictly is for the finance director role in terms of budgets and keeping up that role. It'll work interactive with Tradic, so it's not like the treasurer won't have the same access to it. It's just an easier way of me saying, I want to get quarterlies done. It'll be literally a push of a button. It'll balance it out for me, and I can upload it to DFA without having to spend hours and hours going back and forth between manually entering into an Excel spreadsheet, manually entering into Tradic, and then manually entering it to DFA. So it's going to save me quite a bit of time.
Totally get it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
It took a while to find it. Of course, the cost is not cheap, and after talking with County Manager Jaramillo and of course our IT Director Colin Miller, what's that grant called? I forgot what it was called.
Local.
Yeah, you had it here in the agenda. Yes, it'll be coming out of the LACTF funds to help with the costs for the next 3 years. So the way it works out is initially I need to get this approved, and I wanted to move forward to where they start installing the software now in June. So when final budget comes around in July, they'll be working closely with me to ensure that we use this program to get final done accordingly and get it reported correctly to DFA and get everything in place. So that way the budgets run smoothly thereon, and then there's more transparency from here on out. And it just makes it easier for department heads to view their budgets and see what their projections are before mid-year as well and see where they're at.
Thank you. It sounds like a
Mhm.
pretty exciting tool. Just one question, the amount that we're looking at that takes us through 2026,
Mhm.
give or take? Okay,
So each year after that, the initial cost is over 100 grand, but then after that, it's like 74 or 76,000 a year to keep the program up. There are other components, like Commissioner Vihil said, in terms of AP and that, but I wanted to try this out, see how it's going to work in the finance world and with the county. I do have a lot of frustrations with TRADIC, just like other departments. It's very frustrating when there's so many menu options and they only do one, how can I say, one report at a time when you're spooling it, when this one can just do it all in one whack in different versions, from CSV to Excel to a pie chart, where you're not having to create all that by hand and spend so much time on it, or spend my weekends trying to get the report done. So, this is going to save not just my time, but it's also going to give Brent and you a more refreshing look at what our budgets are looking at on a day-to-day basis on real time.
great. Thank you
Mhm.
very much for bringing this forward. Commissioners, I would entertain a motion regarding approval of purchase of OpenGov/Carasoft Finance Procurement Cloud software using state price agreement.
Madam Chair, motion to approve.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Vihil. Madam Clerk, please call for the vote.
Commissioner Vihil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mascarenhas,
Yes.
Vice Chair Romero,
Yes.
Chair Brush.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to bring to your attention, and it's a boo-boo mistake I made. On the consent agenda on letter F, I accidentally gave the same cover sheet for EMS. I put the sheriff on there. So that one is strictly for EMS to transfer money for transportation. The bar behind it is correct, but the cover sheet that I gave for the agenda is incorrect. So I just wanted to make you aware.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
That does clear things up. As we're on now, I would like to have pulled for discussion or questions. If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through M. Thank you, Commissioner Vihil.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mascarenhas. Madam Clerk, please call for the vote.
Commissioner Vihil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mascarenhas,
Yes.
Vice Chair Romero,
Yes.
Chair Brush.
Yes, thank you. This takes us to item 18, County Manager's Report and Matters. Mr. Jaramillo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We did interview approximately 2 weeks ago for the position of Economic Development Director. Taos County has offered the position to Ms. Jessica Stern. She was one of 4 applicants for the position. Mr. Madrid did lead the first interview panel that included Mr. Caldwell and Mr. Peter Mitchell from Economic Development Department, and Anita Bringus from UNM Taos. We did a second interview, and we did offer her the position. She'll be starting on June 12th, and she's very excited to come and work with us as well. So
Jessica, okay. I didn't catch that.
that same week, the deputy county managers did interview for the facilities maintenance director position. We're in the process of rating and ranking those applicants, so we should be making an offer to an individual by the end of the week, if not by tomorrow. So we're excited to fill those 2 positions. Yesterday, we did receive from Property Tax Division from the Taxation and Revenue Department that the appraisal that Mr. Gerald Nichols has done for the Phil Lovato building for the Dream Tree project, which is going to be the Taos Nest, the PTD did determine that it met their applicable compliance standards and the appropriate valuation standards were met. The rental value of the Phil Lovato building is $6,169, and the market value of the property is $543,000. So our next step is to go to the Board of Finance. Corey Strife and Mr. Trujillo have been working on that submission, but we needed part of the application process to go to Board of Finance was the review by PTD. So Ms. Strife is going to see about getting this on the June schedule for Board of Finance. So this is a similar process that we're also going to have to take with the detox building as well. I'm trying to think if it's going to apply to any others. No, I don't think so. If there's any questions on the process, I would let Mr. Trujillo answer those questions on process.
Perfectly okay with that.
Any questions?
Just how long will it take? Do you have any idea? Sorry, Chair.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Vihil, because PTD responded just now and approved the appraisal, we will be able to submit our application by the deadline of, it's the end of May sometime, so that we'll get on the June agenda. If we get on the June agenda, it is my hope, if we do our work correctly, that we'll get on the consent agenda. If we get on the consent agenda, then it could be approved at that meeting, and then we're basically done. We just need to get the signatures. If it's not approved, if it's not put on the consent agenda, then then it could be continued, it could be approved, it could be denied, that sort of thing. But my hope is that we will get it on consent.
Great, thank you.
All right. Last week, there was the Northern Pueblos Regional Transportation Planning Organizational Meeting. This was to rate and rank the transportation project fund applications that were submitted. There were a total of 14 applications submitted. This is based on our District 5, so it corresponds to our district as well. There's also the other districts, the Metro, that's also part of District 5 as well. So there were 14 applications that were submitted for requests of $27,531,000. So 12 member entities attended and rated and ranked the projects. Joe Fernandez made our presentations for us. Deborah Chavez was there in support. Mr. Silva was online as well to support Mr. Fernandez. Taos County submission for Blueberry Hill Road was finished first in the ranking. So that's good news that we finished first. Our other projects that were submitted, now I lost it. Finished 12 and 13th for, finished 12 was New Mexico 68 phase location for a study, feasibility study, and for basically from the blinking light, the hanging light, and near the Ranchos Church down to the Horseshoe. And then we were looking for a study to be completed on New Mexico 522 for the blinking light as you drop down into Arroyo Hondo. There is some roadway issues there. Our Tom Holder project finished ranked number 9. So we're now also in competition with the 2 metropolitan planning organizations. So the District 5 has approximately $10 million to cover all these entities in a total of the 3 RTPOs and the 2 MPOs. So it's good that Blueberry Hill was ranked first. So we'd probably still be in consideration for it, but I'm not sure of of our other projects will see any funding this fiscal year, but I'd like to thank Mr. Fernandez, Ms. Chavez, and Mr. Silva. They worked tirelessly those days leading up to the presentations, and Jason, and I reviewed the PowerPoints, and they were excellent presentations that Jason massaged and finalized. So I want to thank Jason again for that. The retention and recruitment checks were distributed to our employees. The job postings on the human resource tab on the website now reflect that there's a $3,000 incentive for a stipend to, if you come on board with Taos County. Ms. Erin Beatty is going to be working on postings for Facebook to incentivize individuals to apply Taos County using our recruitment monies that the commission let us use for that process. So that, again, got distributed. We'll start advertising that immediately. And the other thing that we signed a contract for is New Mexico ACES. This is an association of charter school educational services. What they do is provide procurement services for school districts, and this is also allowed for local governments. So this is giving Ms. Vihil another tool in the toolbox that she can use to help her with the procurement side. For, as an example, the bid packet for for Blueberry Hill, they'll be involved as Ms. Vihil wants them to be, but we can give the bid packet to New Mexico ACES. They'll prepare the bid packet for publication. They will get this ready for the newspapers. If we want to put it on the newspaper, they'll let us do it. If we want to let them put it in the newspaper, they'll do all the due diligence. So it's, in a sense, providing Ms. Vihil an employee within the office. So our first contract that we need to put out to RFP is for our janitorial services. Unfortunately, we've been having a tough time with our current janitorial service contract. So we are working to putting that out. And so we'll let New Mexico ACES work with us on that as well. So I also need to thank staff, and there's been lots of staff. Renelle, Anissa, Shannon, Patsy have all cleaned the restrooms, have picked up the trash, have gone around to the different departments. Rick, Alfred, Isaiah, Ray, and Alfredo from facilities have been picking up the trash and cleaning the restrooms for the courts and for the district attorney's office. And everybody's pretty much had to pitch in, and Jason has worked hard with the janitorial service company to make them do what they're supposed to do. And our next item is to discuss is budget. Our goal is we need to have another special meeting a week from today. And our goal is to give you guys a good tentative draft budget. We're going to meet with the department heads this week and the countywide elected officials to go over their respective budgets. There's a lot of work. I've asked Chris and Jason not to take any meetings this week. The only thing to do this week is work on budget, and we received the director's packets from REDW. So the other thing is human resources, and Chris and Jason and the respective direct reports will be meeting with those department heads, and I'll meet, me and Gina will meet with the countywide elected officials to go over their budgets, their recommended starting salary. So we have a lot of ground to cover this week. We met this morning about all this ground that we need to cover, and we just need to get it done. It is hard to try working on the 399 by myself, and without the right software, I had questions. I couldn't look stuff up. I did have all the revenues and quarterly reports, but it's sometimes you do need like the financial software. It would have been a lot easier for me to work on some of this budget stuff if I was able to look stuff up and versus trying to do it by myself after hours. So I don't know if Elsa, you have anything to add to the budget discussion, but Elsa has been working hard, and I can't say enough what else is done, and she's worked hard.
If the commission, and I know Brent will be working with you guys, especially in the capital enhancement on the 399, if there are any upcoming projects that you foresee, let's say within this year or even next year or the year after, it's something that we need in our pocket in order to build the budget up to, as revenues come in, we know exactly where we're going to be pulling those from and where the monies will be available. I am, based on our comp study in that, I am going to make everyone aware that even operations, we may have to cut somewhat from there as well, so we can start saving money on the side as we go along through these years, the next 4 or 5 years, in order to help compensate for a lot of these increases that we're going to be seeing, as well as with benefits. And now that the county is taking on more on para, so, you know, there's all these changes coming around. So do remember, preliminary is just projected. It's you know, we are going to meet Brent's goal in trying to get this all set up so we can have the special meeting next week and discuss further with you in terms of budgets and since you are the fiscal agents. But ultimately, you know, there will be obviously some more tweaking done to it when final comes around, especially when it comes to the salaries and so forth, or other needs that we see when contracts are going to be coming forth. Let's say, for instance, now with custodial duties, you know, in terms of what we're going to be facing, especially with the complex with these 3 buildings right now. So it is difficult. That is the most difficult field we have to do a solicitation on. Schools, government, everybody is facing the same problems we're facing with custodial duties. So it is a very difficult field to get people who stick around and actually do their job. A lot of them just don't like it, or they just feel they're not getting paid enough and they just walk off and don't tell us. They tell their contracted employer, and then their employer doesn't tell us. So, you know, there's all these if whats. We don't have a crystal ball for it, but you know, we're going to work as best as we can to fit stuff into the budget to where it's going to work the best we can. But again, it's all projected, and until revenues start coming in, and of course that's usually around December, mid-year, we won't know more in terms of where we stand. So, you know, I just ask that everybody be a little frugal at the beginning of the year, because we only have so much cash in the vault between July and December, and we still have to pay our employees. And so I try to do the best I can in procurement to make sure we're procuring what we need, but also what only we need, till we make sure we have all the revenues in the door.
On a positive note, farmers market did have a great number of attendants. I don't think they count the number of folks, but I know Commissioner Romero, Commissioner Brush, Mr. Madrid, myself, we all didn't see none of you guys, but I knew you were all here, and there was a great number of people. The folks did call Jason, and Andre called Jason and just let him know that they were pretty happy. I'd like to thank Anissa for getting the contract done and working with Jennifer, and to thank Jason too for getting the generator to get them power for some of their vendors. So there was a process too on top of everything else, but we heard a lot of positives about the farmers market being here. So stand for any questions.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Thank you, Brent.
on the proposed special meeting, what is the time on that? Because I I may have a conflict. I have a 12 o'clock for the same purpose with El Valle. Will it need to be more than 3 hours or what's the time?
It could be more than 3 hours, depends on the number of questions that you have, that you all have, I should
I
say.
have a 12 o'clock for. No question. Keep the questions down. We can do it 3 hours. Okay.
Tuesday, but I mean, we're overall, also it depends on Madam Clerk, as long as she can provide help on Tuesday, but we're also flexible, I guess, to go any other day of the week.
And could I just repeat, so next Tuesday, the 23rd would be one special meeting regarding budget, and also we had already said the following Tuesday on the 30th. Do we need both of those still?
We need both of those,
Okay.
because on the 30th, you'll have to approve.
Right,
So any changes that will be done from the 23rd to the 30th will get approved, and then we'll go over any changes
okay.
on the 30th.
So for next Tuesday, the 23rd, can we just check in and see if that worked? And Vice Chair, you have to be somewhere else
At
at
12.
noon.
uh-huh.
Should we start at 8:30? 8?
Start at 8:30 or 8?
Maybe 8:30.
Is that
8:30? Okay.
8:30? Okay.
8:30? Okay. All right, thank you.
Once again, May 23rd.
A week from today, Tuesday. Mhm.
We'll start at 8:30. We'll let Commissioner Miguel Romero know. He did try getting on a few times, and he thinks it's on his side that he wasn't able to get on.
Okay, thank you for that. And Commissioner Vehil, you had a question?
Yes, thank you. My apologies if you said this and I just didn't hear it for whatever reason. I think I'm hungry already. But anyways, you talked about the detox, the same, going through the same process as we are going through with the Taos Nest. Where are we on that detox? Are we at least, we have received the appraisal back as well?
We received the appraisal from Mr. Nichols, and then given it to Mr. Trujillo and Ms. Drive. I know they're working on a draft lease. I'm not sure. We still need to get this, I assume, over to Property Tax Division for them to review. I don't know if you want to comment. Yeah? Gotta put you on the spot.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Vehil, the good thing is we have the appraisal done, which is what we waited for so long on the other project. So we're ahead of the game with regard to that. And they'll take it so long as it's, I think, not more than 12 months old. So we're good with the appraisal. In terms of the lease, yeah, we don't have the lease terms nailed down yet. So first thing we need to do is that. Second thing that we need to do is, after we have that set, is send it to review to PTD, which takes 4 to 6 weeks for their review. I think we got it done in 5 weeks or something, this other one, so that's probably pretty consistent. And then we need to get on the agenda.
Right. So if I may follow up, how long do you, just, this is general, tentative.
Sure.
What are we looking at in regards to the lease agreement? Because that's going to kick it off, right? That's what
Well,
really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with the potential tenant. So I don't know where we are in terms of the actual agreement with regard to the lease. So is Chris here? Yeah. Mr. Madrid is the one that's been dealing with the potential tenant. So I don't know where those negotiations are.
And because he's not here, Mr. Jaramillo, do you think at the next time, can we please kind of get that general idea, timeline? I say this because I know the community has been patiently waiting, and just as we're moving along day to day, once in a while someone will ask, and it's just kind of nice to be able to say it's, this is where we're at, or just give them a general idea. This isn't like a 2-year wait, or you know what I'm talking about.
I think we're probably looking at either August, September, or October for them to open their doors. I think we need to sit down with them and negotiate out the thing. We also need PTD to approve the appraisal amount. That did come in lower than the Taos Nest. I think that came in at 3,600 a month, 3,000 something. So I'll leave it to the legal counsel to submit that to PTD to follow the process, and then we can, I guess I'm comfortable once we get PTD to sign off on the appraisal, then we can negotiate the lease.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate the
Okay, thank you.
information.
Commissioners, any further questions for Mr. Jaramillo? Then just a couple of comments on what you reported on. I just want to thank staff who's been picking up the slack with cleaning, because I know nobody on our team signed up to clean bathrooms or deal with trash. So thank you for doing that. It's,
Anissa made sure you guys had a clean bathroom down here. We
I-
have some drainage issues that's making it smell today.
that's
but-
okay, but it's, I don't think I've in 3 years seen it as clean as it was this morning. So thank you. And I just want to also say that thanks to Jason, Anissa, all of us for the farmer's market success, because the vendors, our local growers were really happy with the setup. And they called our team out by names saying like, this person did that for us, this person did that. And it was fun. I know there were some parking issues, Super Save, I've never seen so full, but maybe they could like do something fun out in their parking lot too. I know the farmer's market team said that they would work on signage, because I think a lot of people don't know that parking right back there and just walk through the breezeway. I drove up with my husband and he's like, this parking lot's here? I'm like, yes, this parking lot's here. We can park in this. So I think that those little kinks will get worked out, and it would be really fun to see Super Safe. Maybe we should walk over there, talk to the manager, see them, like, I don't know, popcorn and balloons and music outside, have people drawn over there and give them extra business too. But it was fun, and it was fun to see at the plaza. You couldn't quite see, like, people are parked in so many scattered places, but you could really see the amount of people and the vendors. It seemed like there were more vendors, more of our local growers there. So thank you to our team for making that happen. And, yeah, thank you. All right, then let's move on to item 19, Commissioners' Reports and Matters. Item A, new business to be considered at a future commission meeting. Commissioners, any requests, at least after budget season?
There's so much going on, I don't want to add anything at this time.
Okay, then let's move on to item B, Commissioners' Announcements.
I do have an announcement.
Okay, Commissioner
So
Vehil.
I would like to announce that on June 2nd, it's on a Friday, 2023, there will be an event at the Ag Center, and it is, I'm going to read the title here, New and Improved Free Community Lecture and Tour About Noxious Weeds in Taos County. And so it starts at 9 and ends at 5 p.m. And so I believe that Tanya Duncan from Taos Soil, Water and Conservation did send out that flyer. I don't know, Brent, if you were able to send it to all the commissioners. I'll forward it to you, and then if you'll, or if you, okay, just so you all could see the schedule, and they're actually going to do a tour throughout the community, and just basically showing individuals what these noxious weeds look like. They have a particular group of noxious weeds they're going to be talking about. They have some special speakers that are very, very knowledgeable in this. I'll be doing the introduction, and since I sit on the weed board, and I call it the weed board, it's not cannabis, okay? It's just easier to say weed board. But anyways, just letting you all know it's taking place.
Thank you.
Pardon me? Weed and coffee, according to what we see out there, it goes together now.
Thank you. I always heard good things about that event, so try to go there and learn how much more weeding I've got to do when I get home. So, any other announcements, Commissioner? Okay.
I have one more. I'm sorry if I'm interrupting. So just letting you all know, there's one more Talpa Trails Working Group proposal open to the community for feedback, and that will be at the Ag Center on the 25th. Thank you, May 25th. And so just wanting to let you all know that those proposals that the working group have narrowed down to 5. We did presentations last night. I teamed up with Carlos Arguello. And just so you know, Commissioners, reason why I teamed up with him is I liked the balance that he had proposed and meaning balance of some trails as well as consideration for the proximity owners. And the other focus is, just so you'll know why I chose that particular one, is it addresses conservation of cultural and religious heritage and watershed and ecosystem, and also, once again, fire danger. And I'm talking specifically about this because you all know that I sit on that working group as a county employee, so I just wanted you to know the logic behind that. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Item 19C, board and committee reports. We'll start with Taos Housing Partnership.
Okay, and I'm going to ask that I be allowed to postpone that. My apologies, because I was focused on the Foothills presentation, and I did not write a one-pager, and you certainly don't want me to sit here and scroll through the Board of Directors meeting that
This-
took place, so
We're on the
Am I-
Taos Housing Partnership.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm ahead of the thing. I was
Yeah,
going to.
go ahead.
No, I'm not going to say anything on THP, so you can go ahead. I'll
Okay, the board met last week, Thursday, and it's just basically going through, you heard Lisa O'Brien talk this morning. The board is kind of going through, like, what does the next few months look like? You know, how does the executive committee of the board look, and how do they support Lisa? How do our consultants, like Jen Lopez, continue to play a role, and what's the role of government going forward? So those are the things that are being kind of discussed and worked on as Lisa gets up and running and starts to kind of build the framework for making decisions about projects, which is kind of the beauty of that organization. It sort of takes our political, like, desires and wills, like, out of the fight, and, like, has, like, kind of a framework for making decisions about where we have resources and the most efficient opportunities. So she's in the process of setting that up. The board is in the process of figuring out how to best support her over these next few months as the organization solidifies into its own entity. So is that, and Brent and Darlene, you were both there. Is that a fair description of the board meeting?
That is fair.
Okay, and now, did you want to postpone your New Mexico counties?
Yes, and I'm so sorry, guys.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm really hungry.
So
Okay.
let's move on to the Holy Cross Hospital Nominating Committee meeting. Vice Chair Romero.
Yes, the Holy Cross Hospital Nominating Committee did meet yesterday, and it was a good process. Interviewed 5 candidates for the Taos Holy Cross Hospital board, and they were very good candidates. There was an attorney with like more than 30 years of experience, 4 others with a lot of medical experience. And so 2 were selected, and it's still confidential because it still has to go to the board for final approval. But I did make the point, the suggestion that maybe they should review their bylaws, and that maybe this process itself should be the ultimate authority, and just that they should be approved without the board approval. I don't know how that will be taken. It's up to the board to do their bylaws, but the composition of the nominating committee is good because it has representation from different government entities, including Red River, Cuesta, Taos Ski Valley, Town of Taos, and Taos County. And but the board itself has only one representative of government entities, and with the county getting more and more involved, especially on the public finance part of the operation of the hospital, I think they need at least more people with public finance experience on that board. So I keep making that point. We also, the working group, the Holy Cross Hospital working group met after that. There was a discussion on the transporting of patients. And as I understand it, it's kind of held up right now due to the issue of space that the hospital is dealing with, and the issue of staffing, which is the county is dealing with. And so it's being discussed, being dealt with, but we have those issues.
Thank you, Vice Chair Romero. Appreciate the report. Okay, this takes us to agenda item 20. Taos County Board of Commissioners may convene in closed session. Item 20A, discussion regarding proposed purchase of property. This matter may be discussed in executive session under Open Meetings Act exemption 10-15-1H8, which allows for discussion of the purchase, acquisition, or disposal of real property or water rights by the public body. Commissioners, can we have a motion to convene in closed session?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call for the vote.
Commissioner Vehil,
Yes?
Commissioner Mascarenhas,
Yes.
Vice Chair Romero,
Yes.
Chair Brush.
Yes. Okay. If anyone is still watching, we'll be back
Madam
after
Chair?
closed session. Yes.
Are you going to come back into session and then go back out to closed session for the following item?
Oh, for the fall? We can do both. Yeah, let's do both. Well, but we already voted on one, so we might as well just,
Well, you can
Got
go
it.
ahead and vote on the
got it,
other
got it.
one.
Okay, so 21A, sorry. Thank you guys for keeping me on track. Item 21A, discussion, consideration, decision regarding giving authority to the county manager and county attorney to pursue the purchase of real property. This matter may be discussed in an executive session under Open Meetings Act exemption 10-15-1H8, which allows for discussion of the purchase, acquisition, or disposal of real property or water rights by the public body. Do we also have a motion to go into executive session for this item?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second?
Madam Clerk, please call for the vote.
Commissioner Vehil,
Yes?
Commissioner Mascarenhas,
Yes.
Vice Chair Romero,
Yes.
Chair Brush.
Yes. If anyone is still watching, we will be back after closed session in about 15 minutes or so.
No.
Okay, is there, can we have a motion to come back into regular session?
Motion to return to regular session?
Thank you, Commissioner Mascarenhas. I will go ahead and second that. Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Second.
Commissioner Behill,
Yes?
Commissioner Mascarenhas,
Yes.
Vice Chair Romero,
Yes.
Chair Brush.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Trujillo, would you please give your report from our executive session, item A, discussion regarding proposed purchase of property?
Right, so we're on Roman numeral 20, A, and only those matters that were addressed in the notice were discussed during closed session, and no final decision was made.
Thank you very much. And Commissioners, can we have a motion to approve our attorney's report?
Motion to approve the attorney's report?
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Second?
Thank you, Commissioner Behill. Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Commissioner Behill,
Yes?
Commissioner Mascarenhas,
Yes.
Vice Chair Romero,
Yes.
Chair Brush.
Yes. This takes us to item 21A, discussion, consideration, and decision regarding giving authority to the county manager and county attorney to pursue the purchase of real property. Commissioners, what are your wishes regarding approval of this?
Madam Chair, only those matters that are discussed in the notice were addressed during the meeting, and no final action was taken.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. And so could we have a motion to accept our attorney's report on item 21A?
Motion to accept the report is given?
Thank you. Second. Thank you for the second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll to accept our attorney's report on 21A.
Commissioner Behill,
Yes?
Commissioner Mascarenhas,
Yes.
Vice Chair Romero,
Yes.
Chair Brush.
Yes. Okay, and at this point, we can entertain a motion regarding a decision to give authority to the county manager and county attorney to pursue the purchase.
No.
You just did
No,
that.
we're done?
You just
I
did
thought
that.
we just
No
did
action
your,
was taken. No action.
Yeah, because no decision was made. You're not.
Motion to adjourn.
okay, can I have a motion to adjourn? We have that from Vice Chair Romero.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mascarenhas. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, this meeting is adjourned at 1:48 on May 16th. Thank you, everybody.